Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, Counter Spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
And we go back 69 years, May 4th, 1954, an episode of Dragnet starring Jack Webb, this edition entitled The Big Stop. The Big Stop. Thank you for tuning in on this Thursday. This is Dave Brubeck Day. May 4th, 5-4, the 124th day of the year, 241 days till we get to 2024. And the Dave Brubeck song, Take 5, it's in 5/4 time. Da 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 da. Yeah. Saxophone Paul Desmond composed that song. I really enjoy it. Rhode Island became the first American colony to renounce allegiance to King George III in 1776. Abraham Lincoln buried in Springfield, Illinois on this date in 1865, 3 weeks after his assassination. A bomb thrown at police trying to break up a labor rally in Chicago in 1886, killing 8, wounding 60. The police fired into the crowd. That was the Haymarket Square riot. Construction began by the U.S. on the Panama Canal in 1904. In 1932 in Atlanta, mobster Al Capone began serving an 11-year prison sentence for tax evasion. He did all that other crazy stuff, and the government got him on tax evasion. A lesson to us all. In San Francisco Bay in 1946, Marines from the Treasure Island Marine Barracks stopped a 2-day riot at Alcatraz Federal Prison. 5 people killed in the riot. Norman Mailer's first novel, The Naked and the Dead, published on this date in 1948. In 1953, Ernest Hemingway awarded the Pulitzer Prize for The Old Man and the Sea. In 1964, the long-running soap opera Another World debuted on NBC. It will run for 35 years until 1999. The Ohio National Guard, sent to Kent State University after the ROTC building burned down, opened fire on this date in 1970 on students protesting the U.S.'s invasion of Cambodia.
There was a rally. Everybody met on the commons. And everybody just gathered around, organized. We just stood there, and all the kids wanted to do was have a talk, tell them what was going on, why, the whole bit.
The troops were formed in a circle on the practice field next to Taylor. They were shooting tear gas.
And it was orderly. No kids were out of hand. They just wanted to talk. The troops started throwing tear gas, and the kids were picking up and throwing them back at the cops. And they chased the kids over the hill.
People started throwing rocks, and all of a sudden they started kneeling. We knew they were going to shoot, so we started running.
The cops were boxed in. There was kids all around them. All of a sudden, cops got trigger happy and shot kids.
And about 20 of them, the whole regiment kind of lowered their guns and opened fire, straight fire. Right, and they shot about 50 to 100 rounds, I'd say. It sounded like a machine gun going off.
4 students killed, 9 wounded at Kent State University on this date in 1970. In 1972, the Don't Make a Wave Committee, a fledgling environmental organization founded in Canada in 1971, officially changed its name to Greenpeace. 1979, Margaret Thatcher sworn in as the first woman prime minister of the United Kingdom.
I know full well the responsibilities that await me as I enter the door of number 10, and I'll strive unceasingly to try to fulfill the trust and confidence that the British people have placed in me and the things in which I believe.
Thatcher won 3 successive general elections, served as British Prime Minister for more than 11 years from 1979 to 1990, a record unmatched in the 20th century. She would pass away in 2013. 1989, Colonel Oliver North convicted on charges related to the Iran-Contra affair.
Colonel North has been convicted of 3 very serious felony charges: obstruction of Congress, altering and destroying official documents, and accepting an illegal gratuity. The jury has spoken after a long and difficult trial, and the principle that no man is above the law has been vindicated.
North, indicted on 16 counts, but having been found guilty on only 3, felt vindicated himself.
Today's verdict by the jury here in Washington is a partial vindication for what has been, for my family and me, a very long and difficult process.
The conviction later overturned on the grounds that immunized testimony had been used at his trial. 1989, NASA launched Magellan, a robotic space probe, from Space Shuttle Atlantis in 1989.
Both of the solid rocket motor burns have successfully taken place. Magellan is on the proper path toward Venus, falling toward the sun.
The probe was to map the surface of Venus. It would be 15 months before Magellan reached the planet Venus. Now, in 1994, Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin and PLO leader Yasser Arafat signed a peace accord regarding Palestinian autonomy, granting self-rule in the Gaza Strip and Jericho. 1989, a federal judge in Sacramento gave Unabomber Theodore Kaczynski 4 life sentences plus 30 years after Kaczynski accepted a plea deal sparing him from the death penalty. In 2005, the Washington Post reported that Army investigators knew that former NFL player and Army Ranger Pat Tillman had been killed by friendly fire.
Pat was doing his job, and I don't even know what the Ranger motto is, but I'll bet you $1 he upheld it.
Tillman enlisted in the Army following the September 11 attacks in May of 2002. And in 2007, Greensburg, Kansas, almost completely destroyed by a 1.7-mile-wide EF5 tornado, the first ever tornado to be rated as such with the new enhanced scale. Passing away on this date in history, Mo Howard of the Three Stooges, cartoonist Bob Clampett, blues harmonica player Paul Butterfield, the wife of Robert Blake, Bonnie Lee Bakley, also actor, very funny man, Dom DeLuise, and the man who founded Stewart Tele-Enterprises. He created To Tell the Truth, Password, The Price is Right for Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production, and created the $10,000 pyramid for his own company, Bob Stewart, passing away on this date in 2012. Born on this date in history, pro wrestler Dory Funk Sr., yes, the father of Dory Funk Jr. and Terry Funk. Also, Canadian musician Maynard Ferguson, what a trumpeter. Belgian actress Audrey Hepburn, soprano Roberta Peters, soul singer Tyrone Davis, former pro wrestler Mr. Fuji, the king of surf guitar Dick Dale, and Nicholas Ashford of Ashford and Simpson fame. Oleta Adams, what a wonderful singer. Get here, 70 years old today. Pia Zadora, 69 today. Country's Randy Travis, 64. From Arrested Development, Will Arnett is 53. NFL sportscaster Aaron Andrews, 45. And NSYNC's Lance Bass is 44. Those just a few of the people who celebrate the 4th day of May as their birthday. If this is your birthday.
Hi, we're the 4 freshmen, and we just want to say happy birthday to you.
From 69 years ago, May 4th, 1954, Dragnet, the big stop here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on this Thursday. Thanks for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater. I'm Wyatt Cox, and here we go with an episode of Dragnet starring Jack Webb from 69 years ago, May 4th, 1954.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A killer's loose in your city. You don't know who he is or where to find him. You don't know who his victim will be. Your job, stop him.
Dragnet.
the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, May 13th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Lorman. My name's Friday. I was on my way back from handwriting, and it was 8:26 a.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide.
You get it?
Yeah, Don just finished up. He says the handwriting matches. Victim wrote the note.
Huh. That's it then, huh?
Yeah.
You talked to his wife?
Yeah, she's pretty broken up.
Figures. Ate too fast. Oh, I got heartburn.
Well, why don't you take a couple of those Pepto Pals or whatever it is, and let's get on with this. A lot of work here.
Hey, there's an idea. Never thought of that. Yeah, I got some in my locker over here.
You sure have.
Last time I bought a big box of them. There must be some left. Yeah.
Find them?
Yeah. He thinks the husband fits in, huh?
Yeah, all the way along the... What are you doing?
Huh?
I said, what are you doing there?
I found the Peptos.
Yeah, but what are you doing with them there?
Oh, putting them together. I must have dropped them sometime. See, all the pills are all broken up. Trying to put one together. You can't be too careful. Can't take too much. What is this? Wait a minute. Oh, there. One pill. That's all you're supposed to take, just one.
Uh-huh. I don't understand.
What do you mean?
How you can come in here, no sleep, upset stomach, and feel so good.
Yeah. You know something, Joe?
What's that?
Suppose? I really don't.
You don't, huh?
Nope. That ought to be about right, I guess. Does that look like one pill to you?
I don't know, Frank.
I hope so.
It's too important a decision for me to help you with.
Oh, Pepto Pal. Good for what ails you. Potent, Joe. Real potent.
Mm-hmm. I just wondered if you were all through now.
Oh, as soon as I scrape the crumbs away.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, wait a minute. Here's one you missed.
Thanks. Only a half gone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Where to? Yeah.
Well, are you all through now? You've had your pill and everything?
Joe, I took my pill. I've got the Pepto Pals all worked out now. What can I do for you?
Hot shot. I'll get it.
For us?
Yeah, shooting at the corner of Broadway and San Julian.
Who's the victim?
Traffic officer. We left the office and drove to the scene of the shooting. Traffic at the intersection had come to a virtual standstill. 18 feet from the northwest corner, lying in the middle of the pedestrian crosswalk, was a uniformed traffic officer. He was wearing the white cap of the traffic division. There was a large blood stain on the right side of his chest, and his service revolver was still in his holster. By the time we got to the scene, the ambulance had arrived, and the wounded officer was being given emergency treatment. Other officers were trying to get the traffic moving again, and additional men were throwing up a blockade around the immediate vicinity in an attempt to apprehend the person who'd shot the policeman. Captain Lorman and Chief Detective Thad Brown arrived and took charge of the search. Frank and I checked through the crowd that had gathered, and we found a witness to the shooting.
Yeah. I saw the whole thing, officer, right from the beginning. I saw it. Just about the most awful thing I ever saw.
All right, sir, if you'll just give us your name.
Roy Hickok. It's Hickok.
All right, Mr. Hickok. Now, if you'll tell us what happened.
Well, I was on my way to work, walking down the street. I got to the corner here, Broadway and San Julian. I got to the corner, I stopped for a light.
Go ahead.
I just stood there waiting for it to be time to cross. All of a sudden, this car came up and slid to a stop. The light changed, and he had to stop.
Uh-huh.
He must have been going pretty fast because he went clear out into the intersection. And the officer, the one who was shot, held up his hand. I think that was the only reason the driver didn't run the light. The officer held up his hand.
All right, sir, go ahead.
Well, the fella stopped, but he was right in the middle of the crosswalk. Everybody had to go around the car, out into the intersection.
Mm-hmm.
He was right in the middle, and we all had to go around it.
Yeah.
Well, he just sat there. He didn't make any try to back up or nothing. He just sat there kind of waiting for the light to change again so he could get going.
I see.
Then the officer, the one who was shot, he started to walk over to the fella. I guess he wanted him to back up. Must have been something like that. Wanted him to get out of the way.
What happened then?
Well, all of a sudden, this guy in the car just started shooting.
Where was the officer when the shooting started?
We hadn't even got to the car yet. He must have been about 10, 12 feet from it. This guy pulled out the gun and started plowing away. Point blank, he did it, right in the policeman's face.
Yeah.
Well, everybody on the street got panicky when they heard the shooting. Started to run everywhere, yelling, screaming, real panic.
What'd the officer do?
Nothing. He stood there and looked surprised. And then he tried to get his gun out of the holster, but... Well, before he could do it, the fellow in the car shot a couple more times, and the policeman fell down.
What'd he do then?
You mean the guy in the car?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, he took off. Drove right through the people and drove down San Julian. It's a wonder he didn't kill somebody the way he drove off. Just didn't care about anybody. Barreled south on San Julian.
Did you talk to the other officers about this?
Well, not too much. Seems like as soon as it happened, there were so many people around, there wasn't much time to talk to anybody. I called down where I worked, and I told them I'd be late. I told them to expect me when I walked in. I never did see so many policemen or cars.
Just a minute, will you? Folks, you'll have to get back here, please. Give us a little more room now. All right, thank you. Can you give us a description of the car?
The one the killer drove?
Yes, sir.
Well, you bet I can. I can tell you all about it.
All right, would you go ahead?
Well, it was a dark-colored sedan. A dark blue.
Mm-hmm. What kind of car was it?
You mean the brand?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm not real sure about that. It all happened so fast. You know, all of a sudden it was over. I only got a kind of a quick look at it because I wasn't paying much attention to it.
Now, look, folks, you'll have to stay back here, please. Frank, hold him back over there, will you? Now, what kind of a car was it?
Well, I think it was either a Plymouth or maybe a DeSoto, but I'm not sure.
But you're pretty sure about the color, are you?
Oh, yeah. It was blue, dark blue.
Now, what about the man driving the car? Did you get a good look at him?
Yeah, I guess just about everybody did. You know, sitting out there in the middle of the street like that. Everybody that went by him had a look at him.
Could you give us a description of him?
Well, what do you want to know?
Well, how about the color of his hair?
It was light, not real blonde, but a light color.
How about his eyes?
It looked like they was blue.
Mm-hmm. About how old would you say the man was?
Well, I don't know, maybe 24, 25, around in there. He wasn't real old.
Was he clean shaven?
Yeah.
How about glasses? Do you remember? Was he wearing them?
No.
Was there anything about him that'd make it easier for us to identify him?
I don't think I know what you mean.
Well, was there anything about him, a scar, maybe a birthmark, something like that you might have seen?
Not that I remember. Might have had something like that, but if he did, I don't remember.
Did you have the chance to see what the man was wearing?
Well, just that he had on a white shirt and a jacket. It looked like the ones they issue in the Army. You know, the kind of windbreaker type, light material.
Uh-huh. Did the man say anything?
Well, if he did, I didn't hear it. As soon as he started shooting, it seemed like the roof come off. All the noise, everybody yelling, trying to get out of the way of the bullets. If he said anything, I sure didn't hear it.
I see. Now, is there anything else that you can give us on the man?
Well, there is, Sergeant, but I feel a little silly about it.
Well, what's that, sir?
What's about the car? I told you I didn't pay much attention to it, not at first. Well, after the shooting started, then I got as good a look as I could.
Mm-hmm.
I got a pretty good look at the back of it when the guy took off.
Just a minute, I didn't hear you.
I say I got a pretty good look at the back of it when the guy took off. You know, when he went down the street.
I see.
I feel a little silly because I didn't get more.
How's that?
The license number.
Yeah.
I could only get 4 of the numbers.
The witness was able to give us the numbers, 1 Sugar 139. A broadcast was gotten out carrying this information, and a search was started through auto records in an attempt to come up with the owner of the vehicle. 2 men were detailed to the Department of Motor Vehicles to assist their men in the search of the files. Meantime, Chief Brown and Captain Lorman had ordered roadblocks to be put up on San Julian and all streets leading to adjoining areas. The one witness, Roy Hickok, was taken to the city hall and he was shown the mug books. He was unable to come up with an identification on the suspect. 12:40 p.m. Frank put in a call to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital and found that Officer Larry Giroux was still in a critical condition and that he had not regained consciousness. His family had been notified and a car was dispatched to bring his wife to the hospital. All people in the immediate vicinity of the shooting were interrogated and their statements were taken, but none of them could give us a lead as to the identity of the suspect. 5:27 p.m. Frank and I went back to the office. While he checked by auto records, I put in a call to Captain Lorman. Yeah, Skipper. No, they're still checking it. Yeah. Well, Frank's down there now. Uh-huh. Yeah, he looked at him, but he wasn't able to give us anything. No, I say he couldn't give us anything.
36 Ave University.
No, last we heard he was still unconscious. Yeah, that's right. Well, we left word that we're to be called if he comes out. Mm-hmm. No, Glinda and McCready are over there. Yeah, she's taking it pretty hard.
Joe.
Mm-hmm. Right. Just a minute, I got Skipper on the phone. If anything turns up, we'll call you.
Joe, it's important.
Hold on a minute, will you, Skipper? Yeah, what do you got?
Well, they made the car.
Yeah.
It was stolen this morning.
Well, we got a pretty good piece of news. No, Frank just came in. They made the car. It was stolen this morning. We got in touch with the owner of the car and we talked to him. He told us that he'd noticed that the car was gone from the place where he'd left it the night before and that he filed a report on it immediately. We got a full description of the vehicle and a supplementary broadcast was gotten out. 8:14 p.m. We got a call from Georgia Street Hospital telling us that Officer Giroux had regained consciousness and he could be questioned. Frank and I left the office and drove over to see him. By the time we got there, however, he lapsed into a coma again. We talked to Dr. Sebastian. He told us that he'd removed 4 bullets from Giroux's body. One of the shots had severed the officer's spinal cord. In the event that he pulled out of it, he'd never walk again. Frank and I talked with Galindo and McCready. They'd been able to interview the wounded officer, but they hadn't been able to get any additional information from him. As we walked down the hall, we met Mrs. Giroux.
Sergeant Friday?
Yes, ma'am?
I'm Ellen Giroux, Larry's wife.
Yes, ma'am.
Do they know yet? Do they know if Larry's going to be all right?
Well, it'd be better if you talk to Dr. Sebastian, Miss Giroux.
I have. He tells me they don't know yet.
May 4th, 1954, Dragnet on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. The news from 69 years ago today follows these important messages from your favorite radio station. Just when you thought it couldn't get any better, Mike Lindell and MyPillow launching the MyPillow 2.0. Now, when Mike invented MyPillow, it had everything you could want in a pillow. Now, nearly 20 years later, he's discovered a new technology that makes MyPillow even better. Of course, the patented adjustable fill of the original MyPillow, but now with brand new fabric with a temperature-regulating thread, it's the softest, smoothest, and coolest pillow you'll ever own. Say goodbye to tossing and turning and flipping your pillow over in the middle of the night. And more great news on the MyPillow 2.0 buy one, get one free offer with my promo code Wyatt. MyPillow 2.0 is 100% made in the USA, 10-year warranty, 60-day money-back guarantee. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio podcast square to receive the MyPillow 2.0 buy one, get one free offer. Use my promo code Wyatt or call 1-800-928-4715. I'm Wyatt Cox. Thanks for spending part of your Thursday with us here on Classic Radio Theater. We're listening to an episode of Dragnet, The Big Stop, as it was originally broadcast Tuesday, May 4th, 1954. In the newspapers of that Tuesday, 69 years ago, these were some of the headlines. Communist-led Viet Minh rushed up fresh troops in long columns of trucks last night to the French fortress of Dien Bien Phu after calling off its third heavy and sustained assaults on the defenses. Hundreds of Russian-made Molotov trucks were spotted moving into the encircled hills last night, their headlights gleaming. The red-led Viet Minh troops unaccountably halted their third big do-or-die attack Sunday night. After making savage headway into the encircling barbed wire strongpoints, they overran 3 strongpoints and part of a 4th and severely shriveled up the ring of defenses. Communist China shattered the last chance for agreement on Korea in Geneva with a big bitter statement demanding that the U.S. repatriate more than 48,000 communist war prisoners who have refused to return to their red homelands. Chinese Communist Premier Chou En-lai told the Geneva conference that the Chinese and North Korean prisoners are being forcibly held. He proposed a repatriation plan which was immediately rejected by the United States. The Supreme Court, in an important new civil rights decision, ruled unanimously yesterday that Jackson County, Texas, has been violating the Constitution by keeping Mexican Americans off juries. Its decision, written by Justice Earl Warren, overturned the conviction of 25-year-old Pete Hernandez of Edina, Texas, an American of Mexican descent, for the fatal shooting in May 1951 of Joe Espinoza, a Mexican-American cotton planter. Hernandez was sentenced to life imprisonment. The action has the effect outlawing the exclusion of Mexicans from juries, not only in Jackson County, but a number of other Texas and New Mexico counties where the practice had been prevalent. 5 thieves in carnival costumes seized a watchman and broke open a safe to steal $185,000 early yesterday in New Orleans, but they scrupulously deposited nickels for soda pop while they worked. The loss was $85,000 in cash and the rest in checks, watches, and other valuables from the stock of the block-long Schwegman Brothers supermarket on the Airline Highway 6 miles from downtown New Orleans. Raymond Louis Owen Menard, last uncaught member of a professional robber gang headquartered last year in St. Louis, added yesterday to the FBI's list of 10 most wanted men. 83-year-old Onofrio Minado, described by the Kefauver Committee as a Detroit hoodlum, has been excluded from the United States. That according to Joseph Savarelli, the District Director of Immigration and Naturalization. Polio cases higher each week during the past 4 weeks than for any corresponding weeks at any time on record. That from the National Foundation for Infantile Paralysis. Those some of the day's top news stories as reported in the newspapers of Tuesday, May 4th, 1954, on your radio Dragnet, which continues now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
How can they say that? They don't know. Larry's been here for almost 12 hours. They must know something. Why won't they tell me?
We're sorry, Miss Giroux.
Have you caught the man yet? The man who did this to Larry, have you got him yet?
No, ma'am, not yet.
Then what are you doing here? Why aren't you out looking for him?
We're doing everything we can, ma'am.
But you haven't caught him. You're all running around looking, but you haven't caught him. Well, that's doing a lot of good. It makes me feel a lot better to know that the man who shot my husband is still running free.
We're sorry.
That doesn't help, Sergeant. I can't take it home with me and spread out your sorrow in front of my children. They're still going to want to know where their father is. They're still going to want to have him back. Your good wishes aren't going to be enough.
Joe, I'll check the office.
All right. Tell the skipper we're going to tag Metro Division.
Right.
Miss Giroux, we know how you feel. We know what's going through your mind. My partner there was just shot not too long ago, and I've been right here in this same place waiting for a report, too, just like you. I know what it is to see the doctor come out of a treatment room and not say anything. I know there isn't much I can say to make it easier. But we can tell you this. There are 4,000 policemen in this city. Every one of them is looking for the man who shot your husband.
Joe?
Yeah.
The suspect?
Yeah.
They found him.
The tip had come in from a man who had phoned the complaint board and said that he knew where the suspect was hiding. The man wouldn't give his name. Immediately, 2 cars were dispatched to the address. It was a cheap rooming house on East 4th Street. The manager of the place said that there was a tenant who matched the description of the suspect in a room on the 5th floor. He'd given the name James Krell. When the investigating officers had approached the room, they were met with gunfire. They returned the fire. The building was evacuated, and the streets in front of the building were roped off. Several more cars arrived from Metro Division, and the building was completely surrounded. Frank and I stopped by the office and picked up tear gas equipment. From what we were told, the suspect had barricaded the door leading into the room with furniture. The only way we had to get him out alive was with gas. Frank and I talked with Captain Lorman and with Chief Brown. It was decided to use a flight right shell and blast through the door. Frank took the gun and we went up to the 5th floor. The halls were empty.
You all set?
Well, let's give him another chance.
All right.
All right, Krell. We'll give you one more chance to come out of there. Come on, Krell. Open the door and throw the gun out.
He's not coming out.
All right, this is the last time around, Krell.
Get out of here, cop. Get out of here, leave me alone. You try to come through that door and I'll kill you. I swear I will. I'll kill you where you stand.
All right, Frank. Let's put the mask on.
Right.
You all set?
Yeah.
All right, let it go. Should be coming out.
Yeah.
He's moving that furniture.
I'll cover this side.
All right, watch it.
I'm coming out. I give up. I quit.
All right, throw that gun out here. Throw the gun out first, and then you follow it.
Okay, I'm doing what you say. Here's the gun. I quit. Here's the gun.
I got it. All right, Krell. Come on out with your hands behind your head. Come on, move.
All right, don't shoot. Don't shoot. I'm doing like you say. I'm coming.
All right, come on, move. Down here. Come on, move, Krell. All right, this'll do. Now stand still.
Hands up against the wall.
Come on, Krell. Do what he says.
I can't breathe. I'll do whatever you say, but I can't breathe. I can't breathe. That gas.
You better get used to it, Krell.
What?
If that cop dies, they won't let you walk out of the room. The suspect was taken to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital for treatment. When the investigating officers had approached the room that he was hiding in, Krell had shot at them through the door. They'd returned the fire, and one of the bullets had shattered his left wrist. We got his full name, and we ran him through R&I. We found that he had a minor record in California and was, at the time, a deserter from the Army. His wrist was taken care of, and then Frank and I talked to him in the treatment room.
Lousy deal all the way around.
Is that right?
Sure, you guys had no right to come up there and shoot off that gas.
We didn't call it.
Lousy deal.
Why'd you shoot that officer?
I thought he was going to shoot me. It was self-defense.
When they picked him up, his gun was still in his holster.
Then somebody put it back.
Why do you want to shoot you?
Who knows? Who can figure any cop? You're all sadists.
Why'd you do it?
Look, I'll tell you nice and plain. I drove up to the signal. I stopped. This wise cop come over, started rousing me about being in the intersection. I told him to shut up. I don't have to take that kind of talk from nobody. He pulled a gun. It was self-defense.
We got a couple of people saw the whole thing. They tell a little different.
They're either psycho or else you're paying them off.
How long you been AWOL?
Who says I am?
The Army?
I could square that beef with him.
What about that car you were driving this morning?
What about it?
Where'd you get it?
Belongs to a friend of mine. I borrowed it.
Owner reported it stolen.
He must have forgotten. He told me to take it.
What's the friend's name?
I forget.
They'd pay you to remember.
I have a very bad memory.
Why'd you shoot the officer?
Because he was going to shoot me.
He just walked up and said he was going to shoot you. Is that it?
Yeah, guy's a sadist. All you cops are. Put that uniform on, you all think you can boss anybody around. Well, you made a mistake with this one. Isn't anybody bosses me around.
How long you been in town?
Why?
Answer the question.
Couple of weeks.
You've been AWOL for over 6 months. Now, where you been?
Around.
Where?
I like to travel.
Manager of that rooming house says you just checked in this morning. Is that right?
You talked to her. I didn't.
All right, where you been staying?
There goes the memory again.
Look, you're in trouble, Krell. Talk like that won't do you any good.
One of those things. I wish I could help you fellas, but there's nothing I can
Where'd
do.
you get the car?
From a friend.
What's his name?
I don't remember.
But he said you could take it.
Yeah?
Then why'd he report it stolen?
Ask him.
We did. He says he doesn't know you. Where'd you get the gun?
Picked it up.
Where?
Bought it. Don't know the name of the store.
It's being checked now. You might as well save time and tell us.
You're getting paid.
What'd the officer say before you shot him?
Didn't say anything. Just pulled his gun. I was faster. Self-defense.
Now, you might think this is a game, Krell. You maybe think you're a big man sitting here, but I want to set you straight. You're in trouble. More trouble than you've ever been in before. We've got at least 20 people who saw you deliberately gun that cop. They're willing to swear to it in court.
You know what I think it was?
Now, you go ahead and tell us.
It was this kind of purple flash, and all of a sudden this cop was laying there. Maybe it wasn't self-defense. Maybe it was temporary insanity. Hey, how's that sound? Temporary insanity. He die?
No, not yet.
Cops and cats, you can't kill them.
You made a pretty good try. All right, mister, on your feet.
What for?
Come on, let's go.
We're going to jail?
Get up, Krell. Come
Maybe
on
you're going to take me to the gas chamber right now, huh? Do without a trial or nothing. Just lock me up and drop the eggs.
You're awful close to it, mister.
You got to get me there first.
You're standing in front of it right now.
I tell you what, I'll give you 10 to 1 I don't make it.
Come on.
Well, I bet you guys would just love to have me make a break, huh?
Now, you listen, Krell. With that arm, we can't put handcuffs on you, but you're still in custody. Don't try anything.
Well, how about it? You'd like that, wouldn't you? Get your pictures in all the papers. Heroic cops kill criminal.
All right, in here.
Yeah, you guys would really like that.
I'm going to give you something for free, Krell.
Oh, yeah? What's that?
You talk a lot, but you don't say anything.
Always happens. Put a guy in a uniform right away, he's a big man. A bum on the outside, but just give him a badge and a suit, right away he's big.
Yeah, sure. Come on.
Hey, how's about a cigarette?
Here.
Well, thanks. Got a match?
Come on, move. Car's back this way.
Hey, wait a minute.
What do you want?
A cigarette. Not doing me much good without a match.
All right, here.
Grab him, Joe. Hold it up, Krell. All right, Krell, hold it up. Hold it up or I'll shoot.
It's down. Come on. How about it, Joe? Oh, I guess he was right.
Huh?
That bet about the gas chamber?
Yeah.
He won't make it.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
What they would call today suicide by cop. May 4th, 1954, Dragnet on this Thursday, Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. On Friday's Classic Radio Theater, we'll have an episode of Suspense, Death Has a Shadow, starring Bob Hope. From 74 years ago, May 5th, 1949, a clever lawyer proves to be a bit too smart when threatened by a killer in a deserted office building. That's on Friday's Classic Radio Theater. Let's wrap up this, and by the way, anytime at classicradio.stream, classicradio.stream. Now the conclusion of Dragnet, The Big Stop, May 4th, 1954.
A doctor was called down from the hospital, and the suspect, James Krell, was pronounced dead. The body was removed to the county morgue. In going over the dead man's effects, we found a receipt from one of the downtown hotels. There were 2 names listed on it, and a notation to the effect that the rent on room 517 had been paid for a week. The other name on the slip was Sidney Larson. We checked it through R&I, and we found that Larson had a long felony record in California and had been paroled 2 months previously. The report came back on the gun that Krell had used. It was among 7 revolvers that had been stolen from a hardware store in Tulare on May 6th. The other 6 guns were still missing. We checked with Dr. Sebastian on Officer Giroux's condition. We were told that the policeman was still unconscious, but that he had passed the critical stage. Mrs. Giroux collapsed when she heard the news that her husband would never walk again, and she was placed under sedative. 10:48 p.m. Frank and I left the office and drove over to the hotel named on the receipt that we found. It was a run-down place with a potted rubber plant in the lobby. We rang the bell on the counter and waited.
Yeah?
You the manager here?
Well, right now I am, yeah. Why?
Police officers. Want some information.
About what?
Take a look at this. That one of your receipts?
Let me take a look. Now, wait a minute. Let me get the lights on so I can see. Yeah, there's the name right on the top. Sure looks like it's one of ours, don't it?
You recognize the 2 names on it?
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I recognize him good.
This fellow Larson's he in now?
Well, I don't know. We don't keep a very close tab on the people who stay here. Service isn't too good, but we don't ask questions. Change the sheets once a week. We don't ask questions.
Is he in?
Well, he might be. I'd have to check it.
There's a police investigation, mister. Is Larson in?
I'll check the box. Well, key's gone. Must be upstairs.
He alone?
I can't say. Might be. I didn't hear nobody go up, but then I don't listen too good.
Show us the room.
You mean I gotta go up with you?
Come on, mister. Let's go.
Look, we got a nice, quiet hotel. We don't cause no trouble. There's no reason for you cops to come snooping around.
You got the pass key?
Yeah. Let's go. Have to take the elevator up. I can't go the stairs.
All right. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
5th floor, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. That's what they paid for.
How long the 2 of them been here?
Huh?
Larson and Krell, how long they been here?
Well, I'll have to check the book for that. Can't carry those things around in my head. If I did, there wouldn't be no room for the important things.
About when?
What?
About when did they come in?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe 2, 3 weeks around in there.
They got any friends?
Well, most everybody's got a few friends.
Any of them come around here?
No, not that I've seen. We're not snoopy like some.
I'll get the door. All right, which way?
What?
Which way is 517?
To the left. I don't want no trouble here now, huh?
We're not going to make any.
Look, this is a quiet hotel. We don't want any of the tenants to get sore. You guys are going to walk out. I got to live here. I don't want no trouble.
Here it is.
All right, give me the key.
Yeah.
I'll take that side, Frank.
Yeah.
Look, you stand back out of the way and keep still, will you?
No trouble now, huh? Please.
Keep your voice down,
No
will
trouble.
you? All set.
Yeah. Looks like he's asleep.
All right, you take the right side.
He's got a gun.
Get out of here, cop!
All right, come on.
Watch it, Frank. Yeah.
All right, now, come on, Larson. On your feet. Get up.
What are you doing in here? You got no right to come in like this.
I'll check the room, Joe.
What are you looking for? I'm registered. You check my parole officer. He'll tell you I'm clean.
What about the gun?
All right, so I got a gun.
You're an ex-con, aren't you?
Big deal.
All right, let's go.
Where?
You've been there before.
Take a look, Joe. 5 of them.
All right, where'd you get these?
You find out, cop. You're getting nothing from me.
All right, come on.
Take it easy.
Let's go.
What about Krell? You get him, too?
That's right.
You got him in jail?
He's dead.
Krell?
That's right. He tried to make a break, and it didn't work.
Poor kid. Didn't know what it was all about. Wanted to be a tough guy.
Yeah, and you were going to show him how, weren't you?
Nice kid. He wanted to be a big man. We had it all planned. Could hit the big time. Got the guns. He went out to get a car this morning. That's probably why he killed the cop. Krell got scared. He didn't know he wanted to be big. He wanted people to talk about him.
Don't worry about it, mister.
Huh?
They will.
The story you've just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On May 19th, an inquest was held in the coroner's office in and for the county of Los Angeles, state of California. The coroner's jury returned a verdict that the death of James Edward Krell was justifiable homicide. Sidney Carter Larson was filed on for ex-convict with a gun, and upon completion of sentence on that count was released to the authorities of Tulare, California, for prosecution on a charge of burglary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Virginia Gregg, Vic Perrin, Harry Bartell. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
May 4th, 1954, Dragnet here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. I haven't mentioned this. I think I mentioned it on yesterday's show, but there is another big clearance sale going on at MyPillow.com. Right now, clearances on their bathrobes, and they are deeply discounted. And the all-season slippers, the My Slippers, I have a pair of them in the studio, and they are very comfortable. And I can't get any more because they're out of the ones in my size. But they are now $25 a pair when you use my promo code Wyatt. MyPillow.com. Click on the Radio Listener Square and use my promo code Wyatt. The MyPillow slippers, limited sizes available, limit 10. When you go to MyPillow.com and use my promo code Wyatt. Alrighty, thank you for tuning in. Thank this station. Support their advertisers. Their kindness and courtesy allow us to be with you each and every Thursday at this time here on your favorite station. Miss a day, you don't have to miss a single show. All of our shows are available on demand at classicradio.stream. That's classicradio.stream. You can stream our shows, learn about building a classic radio collection of your own. You can find our social media links there. You can also find a list of sites where you can podcast our show, just easy as can be. And if you'd like to help support us, you can buy me a coffee. The Buy Me a Coffee money helps us acquire additional classic radio collections and helps us maintain our distribution channels. That's at classicradio.stream. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great Thursday. Tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.